Welcome to 123 Minimize with Jody and Linnea, the podcast where we discuss easy minimalism for busy moms. Whether you're a new mom in need of practical decluttering tips or an experienced parent seeking simplified routines, you've come to the right place. I'm Jody, wife and full-time working mom of 4. In 2017, I founded the Minimalist Mom Facebook group, now with over 270,000 members. My passion is creating a simple, healthy, and happy home where my family can thrive.
I'm Linnea, a homeschooling mom of 4. In 2021, my family and I sold our house, downsized to a 36-foot travel trailer RV, and embraced minimalism. Living with less has been liberating, and I'm thrilled to share tips and experiences to help you simplify your life. Whether you're sitting down, getting stuff done, or lacing up your walking shoes, welcome to the 123 Minimize podcast.
In today's episode, we'll be talking about your kitchen. So, Linnea, I think that the kitchen is the highest trafficked area in my home. Would you agree?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Food is something that is necessary in everyone's life, whether you live alone or you have a very large family that you cook for. One thing I tell my kids is that no matter what you do with your life, you're going to have to figure out how to feed yourself. So I would think it's one of the most necessary skills that anybody could have.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, having a clean kitchen or a kitchen that doesn't have tons of stuff is better for me to actually get cooking done.
Absolutely. And I can attest to that because I don't enjoy cooking. It's not my favorite thing, but obviously it's necessary. And so anything I can do to reduce additional stress in the kitchen is always a win for me.
Yeah.
And when I come into the kitchen and there's a lot of visual clutter everywhere, I don't even know where to start.
Yep, exactly. I read this study from Cornell University that said that cluttered kitchens are caloric kitchens. So when you have a
Oh,
really messy environment, the female participants in this study, it said it increased their stress level, which prompted them to just grab snacks instead of eating healthy meals.
yeah.
I can see that, because you come in,
Mm-hmm.
you're overwhelmed. You're like, I don't know. I don't want to do this. And grab something
Uh-huh.
super easy, but maybe not the most healthy. Just fill up everybody's stomach and move on. And when I have a kitchen that is cleaned up and under control, I'm more likely to be like, oh, I'm going to make this nice meal or this big
Mm-hmm.
or, oh, these healthy fruits and vegetables all cut up and put out because it's like a clean slate for the day. You could
Yes.
really be
Mm-hmm.
creative in there when it's a clean palette, a clean canvas or whatever, right? But when
Right.
it is just overwhelming with, a pile of mail, piled up dishes, you open the cabinets and Tupperware falls out at you. Or you
Yes.
open your drawer and it's getting jammed by that potato masher. And you're like,
Uh-huh.
nope, I'm done. We're ordering pizza. I'm done. This is enough.
Uh-huh. I totally agree, especially with the cleaned up kitchen part. I find I get so angry when I come into the
Mm-hmm.
kitchen, angry at whoever. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily anyone else's fault. It could be me just angry at myself that I didn't clean up properly because I'm
Yeah.
like, now just to cook, I have to clean up first and then cook and then clean again.
Yeah.
And now I'm way behind on schedule and everyone's getting hangry because there's no food ready. So, yep.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And, having less stuff in your cupboards helps a lot. So when you're going to
Yeah.
put stuff away, there's room. You don't have to, oh, I want to put away this pan. Now I have to take everything out, make sure it all stacks in together and put it back. Having
Hmm.
less in there is going to make it easier for everybody to put stuff away
Hmm.
and also more likely to, I'm just going to wash this and use it instead of taking out more and more and more serving dishes
Hmm.
until
Hmm.
your kitchen's overflowing with dirty dishes.
Hmm. Yep.
So for me, at the beginning of this journey, I had a very small galley kitchen. So very small inches, you could count the inches of counter space. And the knife block was an easy first start of okay, I'm looking in my kitchen. What can I get rid of? And that was taking up valuable counter space. And also I've read that it can dull the knives and be a place that holds yeast, potential mold, or other germs. And I would assume that has to do with if you have anything on your knives when you put them away. But I didn't know all that back then. I just thought, oh, I could have these 6 inches of counter space back for other things making food, And that was a really easy thing to get rid of. And funny enough, I see a lot of knife blocks at thrift stores now. No knives in them, but just the blocks.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I can relate to that too. As you know, we live in an RV. And so when we went through our drastic minimizing from a house down to an RV and we moved in, I just knew like I needed every single square inch of counter space possible. And so, for instance, we have a limited number of small appliances, but we keep those in the pantry, in the cupboard.
Mhm.
And our fruit, we got a fruit hammock that hangs on the underside of one of our cupboards. And we keep our fruit there. So that's not taking up counter space. So really the only appliance that we have out is our toaster, and it's a small one.
Yeah.
But that makes me so happy because when everything's cleaned up, we have lots of counter space. I mean, I shouldn't
Yeah.
say that. Every inch of the counter space that we do have is available to use.
Right. Yep. The next step I would say is to take an inventory of your entire kitchen and see if you have duplicates or dual purpose items. Like, do you use the crock pot and the Instant Pot? Do you use
Mm,
like a little convection toaster oven and a regular toaster? You
mm,
know, and if you do, great, but a lot of people don't, right? So just taking
right.
kind of inventory, you might even find you have like multiple garlic presses or 20 spatulas, right? So just laying it all out, like all your measuring cups, all your measuring spoons. Do you need all that? Maybe you do. Maybe you cook a lot and you want to get rid of something else that you don't need as much in the kitchen, like does all your Tupperware have lids? But since food is a constant, essential part of life, it is easy to justify having excess in the kitchen. But you want to keep the stuff that you constantly reach for all the time. Excess doesn't necessarily mean you're going to cook better meals or you're going to, be happier in the kitchen or more organized. Sometimes on YouTube, people will talk about minimalism or organization, and really it's purchasing hundreds of dollars of stuff to organize your kitchen. And you don't need that. Minimalism is not purchasing containers. Sometimes you just don't need as much stuff. So then you don't need to spend all this money in containers. The kids and I really enjoy watching a show called Struggle Meals online. And one thing I've noticed in his cooking, and it's super entertaining, family friendly, is that he just uses stuff around to make food. And he's like a chef, but instead of like needing a mixer, he just has a whisk and a spoon. Like he just
Oh,
doesn't use a lot of extra stuff. He doesn't have any kind of like garlic thing, masher, or everything is really just stuff that you would have in your house, which goes to show that even a top chef, um,
yeah.
doesn't need all the gadgets. It's really just about knowing what to do and using the stuff that you have around. So while I do enjoy a good gadget once in a while, it is good to
Hmm.
remember that those are wants and not needs. And if you're not
Hmm.
using them or they're broken or whatever, you can just get rid of them. So then I like to just go through each area of the kitchen. So counters are really easy to start with. It's not just
Yeah.
about clean counters though, because shoving stuff in cabinets does not remove the chaos. Clutter
No.
actually increases when you hide it, right? Like you don't think about it
Yeah.
anymore. Let's say you have 10 appliances on your kitchen counters and you shove them all in a cabinet. Now you
Yep.
really might not use them. So
Right.
it's okay to put stuff away, but just knowing what you have is super important. Sometimes I've noticed that when I do leave something on the counter, it does attract more clutter. People walk by and they're like, oh, that's on the counter. I'm going to throw this on too. The kitchen is amazing for gathering like a mixed pile of stuff. Here's some
Hmm.
batteries, here's a cord, here's a toy, here's a pile of papers. I'm like, where is all this coming from? But it's already
Hmm.
looking cluttered. So everybody just thinks like that's a good spot to plop it. And if you have a coffee or tea area, which a lot of people do, check everything to make sure nothing has expired. And mugs are really easy to accumulate as a gift. And I have really enjoyed mugs I've received as gifts and used them until they broke. But they can build up. So if you reach for one or two that are your favorite, maybe consider keeping those and donating the rest.
Hmm. With small appliances like waffle irons and crock pots and things like that, take time to clean each one and then think about when you used it last and what you used it for. Because if you haven't used it in the last 6 months, it might be time to pass it along. So maybe as you're making a meal plan, you can put some meals on there on purpose that will use that appliance and see if you're going to actually use it. And then if you don't within the next 30 days, then just consider donating it.
Yeah, absolutely. There is really no list of like, these are the appliances a minimalist should have. For
Right.
example, we don't use a microwave and we also don't have a coffee maker, but we
Mhm.
do use our ice cream maker and popsicle molds and other things like that. And actually, I use my Instant Pot at least 2 times a week. So
Mhm.
everybody has their own thing that they do. We do drink
Mhm.
coffee, but we use like a French press and a kettle. So I have the kettle, which is an appliance, but there is no list. It's really just about your family, what you do every week, what your routine is, and what you like to have.
Mhm.
So if you use it, keep it. That's the rule for minimalism, right?
Yeah.
And buy nothing groups are a really great way to get rid of appliances that work. So instead of, sometimes appliances will sit on the shelf at a thrift store because people don't know if they work or not. But in a buy nothing group, it's going to get used and it's really better than it ending up in the trash.
Yes. And it's so fun. You know, I mean, if you think about when you've gotten things for free that you really wanted, it's so exciting.
Yeah, it
And
is.
so, it's fun to be able to be the giver in that scenario.
Yeah, it is so exciting. Like one of my girls was asking for a scientific calculator for school,
Uh-huh.
and I posted in the group, and a lady's like, I have one for you. And she actually needed a backpack that I was giving away. So it was a
Ah,
really, I think what she gave me was a higher value, but to her, it wasn't a high value because she didn't need it.
true.
And to me, I didn't want this backpack. So it was a,
Mhm.
a good opportunity to use the Buy Nothing group too and meet people in your area as well.
There was a survey that was done by scientific.net that said the average number of home appliances was 10.6 for single households, 13.8 for two-person households, and 17.5 for households with six persons or more. That's crazy.
That's crazy. I wonder if they use them all, I always
Oh,
wonder if that's a lot to
it
use
is. I
consistently.
doubt.
Yeah, I
I
doubt it.
doubt.
The next area I'd work on is your sink. So try to get your sink cleaned out at least once a day. Maybe that's, for some people listening, they're like, of course I do it after every meal. If that's true, that's awesome. Our life does not always function that way. Sometimes we're just in a hurry, and if I can get the stuff in the sink and walk out the door, I consider that a win. So cleaning it out, sometimes people do it at the last part of the day at night, but we don't always get there. But at least once a day, we try to clean it out, replace worn dish scrubbers. I have found that natural fiber scrubbers last a lot longer than the plastic ones. That's just me. The plastic ones seem to get matted down quicker. I've had a natural fiber one that I've been using for months and it's still in really new condition.
So with kitchen gadgets, a good way to look at those to try to minimize is getting rid of stuff that only does one thing, like cuts an egg or an avocado or chops an onion, but does nothing else. Does it really save you time or is it just spending more money on those gadgets? There's been lots of gadgets like that throughout time. So just give that some consideration when you look through your gadgets.
Yeah. Another thing that's been easy for me to get rid of is cookbooks. I used to have a ton of cookbooks, but just pay attention to what you're using consistently. Some cookbooks aren't actually that good, and some are my go-to cookbooks. So as you're going through that, maybe when you're looking through it, you're like, oh, I want to try this recipe. Well, then by all means, put it on the meal plan and get it done, right? But if you're not
Mhm.
using it, it's just better to pass it along.
Next, you can turn your attention to your fridge and freezer. And for this, I suggest that you just take everything out and clean it out. I love to have my kids help with this. For some reason, they think it's the most fun thing ever. Even when they were really little, they used to love, they were so little, they could climb inside the fridge and like wipe the sides of it out. Anyway, I found that it's really fun to involve them. They love taking everything out. For some reason, they think it's like super novel thing that they're doing. So that has always helped me to make that task go a little faster and be a little more fun.
Oh, I
And
love
then as
that.
you're yeah, and then as you're putting stuff back, you can obviously get rid of stuff that's expired and make a list, keep an inventory list of what you've got. And you can use that to build your meal plan for the next week or two, or maybe if you've got a lot of stuff in your freezer, maybe you can build a meal plan for the next month or two. But definitely, of course, make meals around the foods that's going to expire first. And take note of the stuff that is expiring that you are having to toss, and maybe, because I've had that before, especially certain types of fruits or vegetables. If I'm trying something new and I realize, oh, this just isn't getting eaten, then I'm maybe not going to buy that one next time. On our website, you can find a PDF that's called Your Minimalist Kitchen. And in there, we do walk you through all of these steps. We have inventory lists that you can use when you're cleaning out your fridge, freezer, and pantry. We also take you through the meal planning process, as there are so many different ways that you can go about it. And we include those different printables for you as well, depending on which method that you choose, if it's weekly or monthly. Some people like to do like 3 months at a time and rotate, but we have all that in the PDF.
We also have a free challenge on our Facebook page, 123 Minimize. And if you follow that, we will walk you through your entire kitchen, one thing at a
Yes.
time, like one topic per day. So if you want that kind of help, we have that there as well. So you might have noticed from our challenges that our method we enjoy is to take everything out of an area, clean it inside and out, and put back the stuff that you use and toss, donate, or give away everything else.
Hmm.
Some people do not like this method, but for
Hmm.
me, it's important to get the surface completely clean and scrubbed. And so that's why I like to start there, especially in the
Hmm.
kitchen. Take everything out, scrub it out really well, maybe like tighten cabinet doors or knobs if needed. And
Hmm.
then when you're putting stuff back, you're only making the decision of what to put back versus choosing what to remove. And for me, that's an easier decision.
Oh, I love that.
So for the junk drawer, that's a catch-all. I have one in my house, but I definitely have tried to keep it onto certain topics of things that I need to have in the kitchen.
Hmm.
For other items, I try to rehome them to other areas in the house. So pens and pencils often end up in the junk drawer, but they could really go with your office supplies. And I like to keep batteries together with flashlights, so I do not put those in the junk drawer either.
Hmm.
So having small containers is helpful for this area for me because it's topics. And in the container, if somebody opens a drawer and they're like, I want to put this item in there, and there's no container of similar things for that item, then they're going to have to rethink it a little bit. So living in an RV, Linnea, do you have a junk drawer?
Yeah, we do, which is funny because, our kitchen merges right in with other areas of our home.
Mhm.
So it's not like a real defined separation between kitchen and living room.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I did recently go through ours again because I couldn't even open it one day. But we do keep whiteboard markers in there that I use for our meal planning whiteboard that we have in our kitchen. And then permanent markers and pens we do keep in there as well. And when I was going through our drawer, it was all just mixed together in there, which was so, frustrating because it took me 5 minutes to find the right color marker that I
Mhm.
wanted to use. So I just took some empty jelly jars that we were about to recycle and put those in there. So now we've got the markers sorted, and that has seemed to help really well. Just we keep our walkie-talkies in there as well, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And as you're wrapping up your kitchen decluttering, I think it's a good idea to wipe down the walls, the lighting fixtures, and give the
Mhm.
floors a really good scrub. A lot of kitchen lighting can get very dusty, and this is a good opportunity to just see that beautiful light that you have hanging from the ceiling.
Mhm.
And that's a wrap for today's episode about your kitchen.
We hope you enjoyed delving into this topic with us and found a few tips that might help you on your journey. We want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our amazing listeners for tuning in. Your support and curiosity are what keeps us going. For more tools and resources to help you on your journey toward a simpler life, visit our website, www.123minimize.com. If you found today's episode valuable, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an opportunity to explore new ideas and perspectives. And if you're inclined, leave us a review, which helps to spread the word to others who might enjoy the journey too. As always, feel free to connect with us on Facebook or Instagram to share your thoughts, suggestions, or just to say hi. Until next time, stay motivated. Take care.